Sidebottom, and I'm here to help you today on how to prioritize your sales process. Now, I'm an author, speaker, trainer on the Sales Process Uncovered. I go around the country and help organizations sell quicker with a common voice to expedite their sales process. Today, let's talk about how to prioritize your sales process. Well, today we're going to talk about the 5 buying decisions that you got to answer. Otherwise, you're not going to do anything with your sales process. We're going to structure the sales process around those 5 buying decisions. And when we do that, it's just going to line up with the natural buying process. And that way we're going to hit it out of the park. But we have to make sure we make the sales process a priority. Now, to give you a little background, I was trained by some ex-Navy SEALs. One thing they told me is they're not all like super smart Harvard graduates, but they're the elite of the elite for a reason. And the reason is they follow processes. When they start planning for a mission, they get the blueprints, they build up the situation wherever they're going as best they can, and they practice and practice. And when they get bogged down, they come back and look at everything and restructure everything and try it again with a different avenue. It's called fail forward fast is one of their mottos. And that's basically advance, check your surroundings. If you have a little hiccup, okay, let's make a correction. Now let's try and advance past this one again. And they run through this over and over. And they do debriefs after all these practices. They follow a process. Just like in sales, you need to have a process if you're going to succeed. If we don't have that process, well, it's going to be really hard for us to actually move forward. So let's get into the 5 buying decisions that we have to answer. Now, when we're setting up the priorities, the first one is the first buying decision, which is the salesperson. That's right. We need to build rapport, which is not just walking into a room, seeing something that you have in common and start talking about it. You need to have a deeper rapport with the customer. And I show you that in my process on how to really develop great rapport. I'm a specialist in that. Now, we want to make sure that we're finding out about the customer before we actually meet them. That's why we have LinkedIn and all these social media sites to really find out who that customer is as best we can. Now, I understand that sometimes someone's going to walk in to your dealership or the business that you're at if you're selling TVs or something. You're not going to be able to go and understand their background and go, wait a second, let me check out your LinkedIn or your Facebook or whatever social media you want to look at. You're just not going to be able to do that. But we'll have to be able to ask questions and really dive deep with the customer to understand them. So by understanding the customer, we'll actually be able to build rapport. And that's what we need to do. We need to be able to sell them because there's 3 questions in every interaction that people ask of us. Do I like you? Do I trust you? And how can you help me? They have to form that in about 7 seconds. And it is nature for people to do this. And it's okay. You've done it about me, and I'm okay with this. But we have to be able to answer those things. So when we're going into this part of the sales process, we need to prioritize making sure that we're hitting the mark. Because here's the deal. We can tell everybody about all the great things about our product and service and how it's going to answer all their needs. If they don't like us, they're not buying from us. Have you ever gone into a store and said, something about this person I just don't like, and you left? It's happened. Walk into a clothing store and they're like vultures coming after you. So we need to back away and not be so confrontational. We don't want to be in everybody's face. Okay? So we need to make sure that we're building rapport. Now, let's get into the second buying decision. That's how we're setting the sales process up to hit that second buying decision, which is the organization. That's right. We're not even into the product yet. Now, here's why we want to do this. If we do not sell the organization, how it's going to back up the customer, how it's there for longevity, they don't have any worries, well, there's not trust with the organization. Because at the end of the day, the salesperson isn't going to be the one that handles the software back office stuff, the technical support, warranty, and all that stuff. If stuff escalates, then the salesperson gets involved, and that's not a good situation either. But the organization has to be sold to the customer that it's a solid organization. So we need to sell on those values that the organization has. And hopefully the organization isn't just about making money. We need to make sure that we're selling good, solid things that the customer is going to align with. Okay? So then, again, we're asking questions before we actually sell the organization. That's all done in buying decision 1 of the salesperson. And I teach that in my sales process. Now, we finally get into the third buying decision, and that is the product. Now, most people understand how to sell a product or service. Okay? But for those that don't, we do not take and cock a shotgun and shoot it at a wall of features and benefits. We don't sell features and benefits. People don't buy features and benefits. They buy answers to their needs. That's right. They have needs, and we need to make sure that we're answering those things. So, don't sell features and benefits. Make sure when we're making our sales pitch or our presentation that we're selling the needs that they've already told us they have and that they've verified. Okay? So, we've gotten through 3 buying decisions. Now let's get on to the 4th. And here's where we find out how well we've done. When we get into the price, and that's the 4th buying decision, we need to make sure that we are hitting the mark. And here's where we're going to find out if we've done so or not. Because when we send over our value proposition or our price, whatever you want to call it, well, the customer is going to tell us yes or no. And if we haven't done a good job, well, guess what's going to happen? They're going to tell us no. And that doesn't mean that's the end of the sales process. It just means we need to double back into our sales process to make sure we're going back over those needs and verifying those needs. Okay? But if that person says yes, well, great. We get to move into the 5th buying decision, which is time to buy. And they decide to buy. If they move to there, well, we need to understand what that scope was all the way back in the beginning of how long that's going to take. Sometimes buying decisions take years. Now, my bigger deals that were multi-million and multi-year contracts, they took years to produce. And the needs changed depending on how the organization was functioning, whether it was quality, whether it was a different attribute. Needed to make sure I was hitting all those needs. And different people came and went into the sourcing decision. So now, if it's like buying a computer or a TV or something, which is a lower value, it's going to be a lot quicker into that buying decision. But be cognizant when you're like selling robotics and all that stuff, which is a big investment, it's going to take a little bit longer in making sure that we hit the mark. But as soon as they do buy, we have extra steps in the sales process that we have to prioritize. Okay? And if we don't hit those things and the customer is not successful after they buy our product, well, they're going to feel left alone and they're not going to buy anything from us in the future. Wouldn't it be nice to have more partners that were buying everything that we sold than just one product or service? So think about that when we're prioritizing our sales process. But it's number 1, we have to focus on using a process. Because the more we use it, the faster we get. The faster we get, the more revenues we generate. We need this. Now, if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out. My links are below. And if you like this video, hit like or subscribe. Help other people get visibility to this so that it can help them. Because that's what I'm doing these for, is to help people. Okay? Looking forward to seeing you next time. And again, if you have questions, reach out. We'll see ya.